Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's webinar training. We'll just wait one more minute for everyone to join. My name is Amy. I'm a customer success manager with GO1, and I'm in the US. So for me, it's Monday afternoon, and for most of you in Australia, it's Tuesday morning. During this webinar, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I am today on my own, so I'll be answering those as I'm able. I'll try to stop and pause and ask if anyone has any questions, and then we'll have time at the end for questions as well. Perfect. Well, thank you again for joining. I'm going to get started here right on time. Going to click over here. Perfect. So this is my GO1 demo portal, and all of you should have your own GO1 instances that have been set up for you. If you have not, I would encourage you to reach out to your customer success manager. We have awesome customer success managers here. Each one of you will have one assigned to you, and they will walk you through this process. Today, kind of what I'm going to go through is a high-level overview of the portal, the navigation, the settings. We'll touch a little bit on course creation, enrolling in courses, finding training, and reporting. And then at the end, we'll have time for questions. I do want to point out that this is the default background image. You're welcome to change that if you would like. Your customer success manager can walk you through that, and I can also show you how that's done today. And you can add your company logo here. When your learners enroll, or I'm sorry, when they're added to the portal, this is where they'll come to sign in. And so I'm just going to click sign in and sign into my GO1 instance. Can everyone hear me okay? Just want to make sure. Perfect. Click back over here. Still signing me in. Perfect. And when I sign into the portal, I'm taken to the dashboard. And the dashboard is what everyone will see when they log in. It updates based on actions that you perform in the portal. And also there's a few settings that can be set by administrators such as yourself. The dashboard can always be accessed by clicking the logo here on the left-hand side. The default is a little graduation cap. You can also add your company's logo. You can add a feature image here and a welcome message. And then as you continue down through the dashboard page, you'll see what you've most recently interacted with in the portal, any assigned learning that's been given to you. And there are some other options here that you can turn on and off. Suggested learning. I'm actually going to turn that on real quickly so that you guys can see what that looks like. I apologize for not having it on. Bear with me one second. And I'll turn on activities also. Let me scroll down and save my changes. And then we'll see what the dashboard looks like now that I've updated that. So again, I'll have the feature image and a welcome message, and then I'll have continued learning. And it's loading my suggested learning. I'm not sure why my internet connection's so slow. There we go. So I see continued learning, pick up where I left off, what's been assigned to me by an administrator, and what's been recommended for me. And so the recommended section, you select your industry, what you're interested in, and then our system will suggest courses based on what you've indicated you're interested in. I also have a section for what's trending in my industry, and then an activity feed, which tells me all of the most recent actions I performed in the portal, and you can also view all. So as your learners interact with the portal, they're going to see their continued learning and their assigned learning. That information can also be accessed along this top navigation in the My Learning section. Again, My Learning is individual to the learner, so it's kind of past, present, and future of anything they've done in the portal or have been assigned. It defaults to what's in progress, so I can see kind of where I've left off and the courses that I have. I can filter those down by type of learning object. So we have full courses, learning resources, which are interactive files, and then awards. And awards are learning paths. And that is something that you can set up in your portal, and I'll touch briefly on how to do that. If you have more questions, please feel free to reach out to your customer success manager. I can see what's in progress, what's been assigned to me. I can also see assigned in a calendar view. So if I need to know what I should take first, I want to go back to the oldest item in the calendar and then going forward when it's due. And as you can see, I'm very overdue on many of these courses. And then I have completed. And the completed section is where your learners will find their course completions, and each one of them for the course can view a completion certificate. So you can see this is my test. To view the certificate, I find that under the ellipsis, and anywhere there is an ellipsis in our system, that means there's more actions that you can perform. And completion history will bring up the details and the certificate of the course. And it's unfortunately, they can't be edited or changed, but it is a very standard certificate that you can see. Let me see if you guys can see that. Yes, all right. In a moment here, it'll load a PDF that I can print out that has my name, course title, statement of completion, the portal I completed it on, who completed the course, the name of the course, and the certificate ID and the date I completed it. Does anyone have any questions about that? Perfect. Again, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I'll get to them as I'm able. I'm just going to pop over and see if I have any. No questions. Perfect. So my learning, sorry, I should have started with, this is an administrator's view who's also been designated as a manager in the system. Your individual learners will have less tabs across the top and fewer choices on the right-hand side. So learners will see the dashboard, My Learning, Groups, and Explore. The additional tabs are for managers or administrators. My Team is where managers view their individual teams. There's somewhat of a hierarchy of a system. They can see their direct reports. And then anyone who reports to a manager that reports to them, they're able to see that in the drop-down list. It's a quick snapshot of kind of what your managers and employees are doing in the system. And managers, this is where they would access their reporting. So they can view the users that have been assigned to them and the enrollments for those learners. Again, My Team only shows up if you've been designated a manager in the portal. And when I get to the Add User section, I'll talk about that more in detail. My Teaching is for content administrators and administrators. And this is where you create learning resources. So I'm going to come back to this section after I talk about our additional navigation before I dive into reporting. Groups are a way to manage large numbers of people or small. And the idea behind groups is it allows you to assign content and have an easy place to track the members who are getting that content and then also to easily add content. So if I have employees that are dispersed in different locations, like California has specific compliance training, I can create a group for that location, add the members to it, and then add the content to the group, which allows me to easily, I'll show you here. If I click into the group, I can easily assign content to everyone in that group just by adding the content to this group. So you can see that I have 2 people in this group and I have California-specific training that they need to have per the laws in California. Adding courses is as easy as assigning, and I can search for courses that are in the portal. So if I wanted to add hazard communication, I can add a due date if I would like. Say I wanted to make it by the end of the month. I'm going to then assign this course, and anyone who exists in this group will get all of this training. So if groups are a feature that you would like to use to disperse content to large numbers of people, please talk to your customer success manager when you're onboarding, and they can show you how to do that via bulk upload. The next section is the Explore portal. And this is our library of content. And so because I am in the US, I do have US-centric content. I also have global content added to this portal. So your number may be slightly different than mine if you have a premium subscription, but in the US, we have about 38,000 courses. And finding courses in the portal is just as easy as searching by keyword. And once I search by keyword, if I hit enter, It will narrow my results down to anything related to that keyword. And then I can further filter it down. If I was looking for topics relating to leadership and management, I'd be able to select the general management tag. And that would sort down my options to just 17 results, which is a little bit more manageable than looking through 1,400 courses on leadership. You should be able to search for just about any keyword in the portal. And as you search, if you're not finding the results that you expect, please reach out to us and let us know. We can find that content that you need and possibly get it in premium and occasionally for an additional cost. If you want to clear your filters, you can do that. You can also filter down by these different types of learning objects. So courses are full courses with many modules to them. Events is a functionality that exists in our portal where you can create like a training event if you wanted to have a leadership workshop or if you wanted to do some sort of safety training. You'd be able to create an event, designate a time and place, designate the content, and invite people to enroll in that course. Awards are like learning paths, and I'll get to that when I come back to the My Teaching section. And then the other types of files that we have: videos, documents, links, and text. We do have these additional filters across the top. So if I was looking for a leadership course by a particular provider, I would be able to search just that provider, and it would filter down my results to the provider I've indicated, the tags I've indicated, and the topic of choice. Once I find the course that I'm interested in assigning to my team, I can enroll myself in it and take it by clicking into the course. You can see here that I get the name of the course, who the content provider is, the duration of the course. I can enroll myself in it. I can assign the course to other people. There's more actions you can take under the ellipsis. If I had a problem with the course, I'd report it. If I wanted to queue it up in my learning section, I can add myself. I can also designate a due date if I would like. Add it to my learning. And then additionally, from any of our courses, you can run reports based on who's enrolled in the course, who's completed it, that type of thing. So here, I just enrolled myself in the course. I haven't started it yet, so I'm not showing up on the report. But in this demo portal, I would be able to view everyone who had been enrolled in the course and then filter down by status if they had finished it, if they had not finished it. You can see I get a notification, and now that I've refreshed my screen, I can see that I myself am enrolled in this course, the title of the course, and what my status is. Am I assigned? Am I completed? And if you'd like to know those options, oh, wrong one. Sorry about that. Say I wanted to filter down just by the people who were assigned, like myself, but hadn't finished it yet, I would be able to run that filter. I can also export this data by selecting it, choosing export. And then in the event that someone was accidentally enrolled in this course, I could remove them by deleting this. I can also send them a manual notification. So there's lots of actions you can do from the individual course, and you can also do these types of actions at the higher level in the general reporting section. If you needed to enroll many people in the course, you can do that by choosing the enroll users, and you can also import enrollments. Just going to pop over and see if anyone has any questions. Don't see any questions. All right. Perfect. I'm going to go back to the Explore portal real quick. And in the event that I found a course and directly from the screen wanted to enroll someone, I can do that by clicking on the ellipsis and assigning or enrolling other users. I can also directly access the setting pages, which is where the reports are. And then this last top navigation that we have is the Setup Portal function. And this exists to walk new users or new administrators through the portal, everything from adding an image for your profile to enrolling yourself in a course, creating a course. There are 15 steps to this. And once you complete, there's 16 steps. I have 15 completed. Once you complete all of the steps, this will disappear from your top navigation and just live in the side navigation. And I'll go to that next. So each one of these, if I click on it, will take me to the appropriate place in the portal to make that change. So if I wanted to upload a profile picture, I could click this link and it will take me to the shortcut to the place where I could add my image. I would do that by clicking the edit button, which then allows me to change my image. So all of the steps are here. And if you follow these, you should have no problem setting up your portal. But if you run into any issues, please don't hesitate to let us know. That's kind of a quick level view at everything except the My Teaching section and the top navigation. And then on the right-hand side, underneath my name, there's a couple things above this first line. Those are available to everyone. You can choose your account where you would update your password, add a different email. You have a profile, which tracks all of your learning in your profile. You have portals. If you belong to more than one portal, you could view those here. And then below this line, administer, this is where the administrators of the system, such as yourself, come to add new users, to run reports, and kind of look at the back end and access things that way. So I'm going to click onto administer. And you can see there are the options to run through all of these different types of reports. It's a quick snapshot of the portal on the very first page. It talks about how many users you have. And then the next section allows you to add users and manage your users. So if I click over into users, this is where I would add someone to the portal. And then I can run reports based on who's here. Adding people is as simple as clicking create and adding 4 basic pieces of information. You need their email address, their first name, their last name, the level of access you're going to give them in the GO1 portal. If they had a manager and that manager was designated as a manager in the system, you would then be able to select the manager from the drop-down list. And active is whether they have access. Blocked means you've no longer granted them access and they'll no longer be allowed to log in. And then, of course, the welcome email. And the welcome email is something you all should have received. It says welcome to your portal. It has the URL to click. It also has a link to a one-time use password that allows you to set your own password when logging in. It's going to check to make sure I'm on time. And then roles. So an administrator has full right access to everything in the portal. They can edit images, change email settings, add people, remove people, create content, just about any setting that I have, admins have. Content administrators are slightly reduced privileges from an admin. They cannot change portal settings, but they can create courses and assign those out to people. Manager allows someone to, show up in this drop-down list so they can be added to somebody's profile as their manager. It allows the managers to view the My Team section we talked about briefly, and it also allows them to assign and look at reports for their individual team members. And then everyone is a learner by default. We do have help desk articles on all these different roles and kind of the associated privileges. So if you'd like to see those at the end, I will drop the help desk link in the chat. You can also bulk upload users if you'd like. You do that by clicking on this ellipsis and choosing import. And from the import screen, I'm given the sample file, which is the format that it needs to be in to be re-uploaded to our system. Once I have input all the information into that sample CSV, I just drop that file right here and all of those users are created. If you run into any issues, our system will generate kind of a CSV for you telling you kind of who was not uploaded. So you can take a look and see if maybe there's proper email formatting or something like that. And then if you continue to have issues, don't hesitate to let your customer success manager know so that they can fix that for you. Great. I could also take a look here if I wanted to filter down by maybe just my administrators in the system. I can do that by choosing role and administrator. And now this will just give me a list of everyone who's an administrator in my system. I can export this list if I would like. I can click this button. There we go. And then export as CSV. Does anyone have any questions? Yes. When you import a CSV, everyone will receive a welcome email. That's kind of the trigger, and generally the very last step that we do when setting up a portal is adding all of the users to it because they do immediately get a welcome email. Did that answer your question, Sam? Perfect. Awesome. Great. So I talked about the overview and users. Enrollments is the reporting section where you check what people are doing in the portal. And I have several different examples here. I'm happy to go over all of them if it's of interest to you. But generally, as you get started and using the system as you move along, um, it's better to run reports when you have data because then it just makes more sense. But I'll quickly talk about kind of what I have here just to give you some ideas. So when you first come to the enrollment screen, you get all enrollments in the portal for all time for anyone who's active. You can, of course, look at inactive people if you want to change the filters. And filters allow you to filter this data across the top. Configure allows you to add more columns if there's different data that you want. Like, say, I wanted to look at people's progress. I could add the progress section and apply it. And you'll see it adds a column, which allows me to view progress. And then if I create a report that I like, I can save it. Once I save the report, I'll be prompted to give it a name, and I can choose whether I want to share it with, I just want it visible to myself, or if I want all administrators to view the report. So that's the default. And then a couple of reports that I built here are a leaderboard. If you kind of want to track who's most active in the portal, if you want to do some sort of incentive for people coming in and doing trainings, you can do a leaderboard. And the filter I have on this one is anything that's happened in the last 300 days in the portal. You could, of course, shorten that to 30 days if you want to do it by month, 60, 90, whatever makes the most sense for your organization, how often you're going to be checking it. This filter, I have kind of who's completed a course in the last 90 days. Look at me, go. Look at all, I was kidding. But yeah, you can take a look at, and in this filter, I have said, I want everyone who's active, who has completed a course in the last 30 days. And if you need help creating these reports, just let your customer success manager know. They'll help you out. And then I have kind of an incomplete compliance list. So this is a snapshot of who's been assigned and who's in progress, kind of where they are. If I wanted it in a different format, like a table, because I want to email all these people and say, hey, do your compliance training. I can swap the view. And then from here, because I've already filtered the report for everyone who hasn't completed this very important course, I can then send them all a manual email from the portal saying, hey, I noticed you haven't completed your training. Please log in and do it. And then you can choose the tokens, like their first name, their login name for the portal, where they log in, and then prompt them that way. I don't want to send all these people a notification though. So I'm going to exit out. And we have cool things like pivot tables. Again, we have in the US a compliance course that needs to be taken no matter where you are and by location. So in this pivot table, I've chosen all the variations of that compliance course, whether it's California, Connecticut, New York, whether it's managers, whether it's English or Spanish, and I put it in a pivot table. And then I'm able to see who the user is, how many classes have been assigned to them, and say I had 12 total employees. I want to make sure that 12 people are completing the course. I can do that. And I love pivot tables, especially GO1s, because they're super easy to use. Drag and drop, and now I can see whether they're in progress, assigned, completed, and I can move this around. If it was more important to me, what the progress, it's just as simple as dragging and dropping. Briefly, I showed you a pie chart. I can run a pie chart for just about anything in the portal. So I can get a quick look at what's happening in my portal, whether people are in progress, they haven't started yet, kind of gauge engagement. I can run a histogram, kind of what's happened most recently. I probably need to update the filters on this because let's see what's happened in the last year. I'll give you more accurate kind of usage across the portal by person, when classes are taken by people. If I want to look and see, are Mondays busier than Fridays, I can get a look at that by calendar view. If I want to take a look at progress, which I already kind of demoed, and then a bar chart. So we have tons of different reporting features available to you. And then you can do things like saving this report, you can share it, exporting it. This is a really great way to gauge your engagement, see who's completing things, and stay in touch with them. The rest of these are links to kind of our back end features. So if I, as an administrator, work for your company and I create a course, and then another administrator needs to access that course, they would need to come to the administrator section and go to courses, because if they didn't create the course, it doesn't live in their My Teaching section. I hope that makes sense. These are just back end links to kind of all of the different things in your portal. And we do have tons of help desk articles to help you with this stuff. You can see who created the course. You can get a quick look at it. You can filter here also. But I would recommend Explore as being the places that you look for courses. And then, so I would say that users, enrollments, and courses users and enrollments are the most important reports that you're going to run. But if you find you need to run reports on events, awards, learning items, you can do all of that from this section also. Primarily, everyone uses users and enrollments, though. I'm just going to jump over and see if anyone has any questions. I don't see any. Perfect. Great. And the next I wanted to talk about underneath your name here, this portal settings. Portal settings is kind of where you're going to first go when you get started with GO1. This is setting up the look and feel of your portal, matching it to your brand, adding all those images that I said you could change, those types of things. And so the very first page you're taken to is your portal name. When someone gets an email from the portal, this is where it's going to say it's coming from. Any sort of welcome message you wanted to add, if you had missions, visions, values that you were trying, learning initiatives, you could add that information here. We have the option to opt in for privacy policies and terms of service. If that's something your company does and you want people to accept before they're allowed to proceed with training, you'd put those in. Alternative login URL isn't something that most of you will use. If you accidentally put in a URL, it will just continue to redirect people to that website. So I don't suggest you do it. And then if you wanted, I do like the log out though. So if you have a company intranet, something like that, you want to redirect people to, you could put the intranet page in here and then people would be redirected to that when they've completed their training. And then your location, your time zone, and your industry. Based on the industry that you choose here is kind of how our system suggests learning. So try to find the one that is most applicable to what it is that you guys do. Anytime you make a change, you of course want to save those changes. And then coming on down to the next section, theme. This is the images and colors of the portal. So when I first logged in, you saw the GO1 logo and the GO1 background. Feature image is that's what shows up on the dashboard. And you can put one in for a mobile also so that it resizes properly, excuse me. And then of course, scale to fit. And then this is where I would add my company logo. So the two places I would suggest you add your logo are on the login screen here. And you can do that just by clicking this little X and uploading your file. And our system does tell you the proper file sizes. If you're running into an issue with resizing or for images not fitting properly, just let us know either via the chat or send your customer success manager an email. And then the other place you want to put your logo is your dashboard icon, because that way, no matter what page people are on, they can see your company logo and they feel like they're doing training for your company. And then at the very end, I have portal color, and I can change this to be any color I'd like. There's some defaults that show up, kind of like all colors of the rainbow. And then if I didn't find the exact color I was looking for, there are additional options just by searching the color that you are most interested in. So teal, you can see I have tons of choices for teal, purple, whatever color it is. And when I change this color, it will change kind of this little blue color that shows up when I hover over it and the button colors in the portal. So I like the blue that I have. I'm just going to stick with it. I'm going to save my changes. The very next section is configuration. And so this is the first dashboard that you come to. The dashboard blocks is the section we call it. So I have ticked on recent courses, activities, suggested courses for you. Those are the three that I would turn on. Invite user and allow register are generally off unless you use some sort of single sign on or something like that. So Please don't turn those on if your CSM has turned them off for you. The GO1 Marketplace is a place of over, I think, I can't remember, I think anywhere between 100,000 and 400,000 additional courses that some are free, like TED Talks and YouTube videos, and some are pay per use, where you would purchase them directly, and then one individual learner or however many licenses you purchase will be able to take them. This is content administrators being able to edit user emails. That's something coming in the future. So we will tick that on for you as that goes live. If you have premium, you're going to want to hide your user payment menu because that doesn't apply. User menus and payments. And then course authors. So if you, as an administrator or content administrator, create a course in the portal, it does lend more of a corporate image to hide the course author. So it'll look like it's coming from your company name rather than the individual author. So if it's showing your name and you'd like to hide it, just come in here and tick course author, and that will hide your name and just show the portal. And then you could submit your changes. There's also the ability to change where the navigation lives, whether it's along the side or across the top. So you can change that as suits you. I'm going to submit my changes. Looks like I'm doing okay on time. I'm just going to pop over and see if anyone has any questions. Perfect. Well, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in there. This is kind of a high level view. So as you get started with your portal and you're customizing it, if you run into any issues, again, I just want to suggest that you either utilize our chat feature, which is accessible by this little blue widget in the right-hand corner. You can start a conversation with our global support team. And you can also search our help desk of articles. So if I wanted to look up images, I could search the keyword images, and then it's going to do a search on our help desk of all of the articles that are associated with that individual keyword. We really want to make it easy on you. But again, if you're hitting a wall, just reach out to your CSM. Next, I have the portal content selection. This is if I wanted to curate the content that I was releasing to my entire company. So if you in the US, we have 38,000 courses. If you felt like you wanted to get started with like 1,000 custom courses that you've gone through and handpicked, you'd be able to do that by selecting the individual content. And you could choose it by a particular provider. You could go through and select the individual courses, whatever it was that you were looking for, and you can use this function to search also. So if you find that you want to narrow down the content, just let us know. We can help you with that. But generally, people choose to have their subscribed content, all the content they're paying for. And if I did have Marketplace turned on, I'm going to go back over and tick it back on real quick just so you can see the difference. If I have Marketplace turned on in the portal content selection, I then have additional options to choose from all of the free courses, the pay-per-use courses, or just the content. In this instance, I want all 38,000 courses, and I want my employees to be able to access everything that's available to me that I'm paying for. And then that way, when they go to explore and search, they have the option to view all of these courses. But you can turn all of these on. And then if people come to pay per use courses, they can then decide how they're going to pay for it, if they're going to submit it to their supervisor, that kind of thing. Notifications are the messages that come from the portal. So we send out emails. The most important one is this one that I have turned on. Learner is added to the portal. If this email is turned off, people won't get the welcome email with their one-time use password. So they think they never got added to the portal. So it's very important to have the second email turned on, even if you choose to have all of the other emails turned off. Also, if someone goes to reset a password and emails are turned off for your portal, they won't get that email. So you'll have to reach out to our chat support to help them with that password reset. Other than that, we have a ton of emails available here to you. You can choose kind of who's getting the email if you want to filter those down. You can choose the trigger. These are all the emails that are available to you in the portal just to make your life easier. So when someone's added to the portal, they can get an email. When someone's enrolled in a course, they can get an email. When they have a due date coming up, they can get an email. We do send set notifications for assigned learning. So if you have compliance courses that are very important that people get reminder emails for, you're going to want to assign that course with the due date. And what our system does is when they get an email immediately, And then when 75% of the time is passed between them being assigned the course and it being due, they'll get another reminder email, and then they'll get a couple more emails until the due date. And then you also have the option to turn on an email to email their supervisor if they have reached any of the triggers that you set. So their supervisor can get an email prior to the due date, on the due date, or when they've passed the due date and haven't completed the course. And kind of what turns off those emails going out is them actually completing the course. So it's a great way to kind of automate those really important trainings that need to happen. Our system will just continue to send them emails until they finish it. But we have a ton of emails in here and we can walk you through them individually, but I suggest you hop in and take a look and see what makes the most sense for your organization based on how many emails you want to be received. If you need help kind of being directed to what's the most important ones, just let your CSM know. You can also view the body or the template of the email for any of these emails by clicking the edit button. And this will pull up the template and you can see it inserts certain things. It inserts the URL, their first name of the learner, the URL where that they can access the portal, their username, their one-time use password, and then kind of instructions if they've ever forgotten their password, how to reset that. So it's a very important email. And if you'd like to edit that, you can hop in there and do that. Does anyone have any questions? Nope. Perfect. All right. So we kind of went over all of the back-end sections. I did talk about setup portal. As you can see, it always lives here in the portal settings. And then, like I said, once you've completed all 16 steps, it'll disappear from this top navigation. Just gonna look at my agenda here real quick and make sure I'm staying on time. Perfect. So I'm gonna go over course creation and I did talk about enrollments. I'm gonna go over course creation and reporting next. I know I touched briefly on reporting, so maybe I'm not doing as bad on time as I thought. It looks like my teaching is the only section I haven't covered. So my teaching is where you create content, or any content that you currently have, you can add to our portal. And there's so many different uses for what you can do with this. I have people who've created onboarding packets and put all of their onboarding materials on here. We have a college who is administering courses through here. There's just so many different functions you can do with my teaching. So I'm going to go through and quickly build a course and then kind of show you the different things that you can do with that. So when you're creating a teaching, you're always going to do that under resources. The others are reporting tabs, these other ones across here, or for viewing assessments. Sorry, my phone keeps buzzing. Resources. When I come to the resource tab, you can see there's a create button, and then you can get a quick look at everything that's been created in the past. You can create courses, awards, or just standalone learning items. What do I mean by standalone learning items? That would be a document, a video, a quiz, something that doesn't have multiple sections to it. If I click the create button, an award is a learning path, and then a courses and awards are very similar. Courses can be pulled together in a learning path for an award. And then this type of course is where you can use your own content, GO1 content, quizzes, you can build it all in one defined path that they enroll in the course and they're taken through all of the steps. Whereas the award, you can choose maybe 3 of 5 courses they have to take, where you pick 5 and they just have to take 3 of them. You can set different learning targets. So, and then here's the standalone learning items, the document, any SCORM or TIMCAN files that you own, links to web content that open up in an iframe so it doesn't take people off our site. Text, you could just type into the document, and a video. Video can be a YouTube or Vimeo link, and it can also be an MP4. For this purpose, I'm going to create a course. And then a pop-up window comes up. I can add an image to it. Just going to quickly search for a warehouse image. I'm going to create a forklift safety training course. And then I can add some additional descriptions. And the way I like to think about this is when you're creating courses, like you're creating a training book. So this would be the cover to the book, the picture, the title would be on the spine and the front cover, and then the description would be like the inside flap, kind of telling you about the course. And then if I scroll down, you can see that it's in private draft mode only. And I then can choose when I want to publish it to the portal when I'm done editing it and I have it just how I want it. So I very quickly added an image, given it a name, added a description. I'm going to click create and I'll be taken to the table of contents of the book or the structure. Wait for it to load here. Any of those details that I just added, I can edit here on this detail screen just by clicking back over. There's a couple more options here too. You can add duration. You can connect a Stripe account with our your GO1 portal and charge for it. And you can add tags and additional authors. And then the structure or the table of contents is where I build the training. So I can rename this. If I want to call this something different, I would be able to edit it. Module 1, I want forklift safety videos. Now I've given it a more appropriate name. And then I'm going to go over here and add the sections to this forklift safety video. So, I apologize. I can do that on the right-hand side. So I'm going to search the keyword. I'm going to search the GO1 content library to find appropriate courses that I have found that I'm interested in. The easiest way to do that is to have a separate tab open on the Explore page where you then find the courses that you're interested in, and then you're able to cut and paste the titles here just to make your life easier. But I know I really like this Vivid Forklift Safety Tips, so I'm going to add that course. And then I want to add another forklift safety course. I would like to add the fundamentals. And then I also want to add a scissor lift training video. There we go. So now I have added the 3 courses that I determined I wanted in my forklift safety training. I'm going to add another module because I want to add a document to this, maybe like a manual. So I can add a document. I'm going to enter the title. Call it forklift handout. And then I'm prompted to actually add that document. I can add another image associated with it. And then our system will just prompt me to find that file. I don't actually have a forklift manual, so I'm going to add a user guide because I know I have one of those for GO1. Nope. Don't know why it's only searching there. Let me try this a different way. So now I've found the file that I'm interested in. Our system will upload it. It'll be available in the course. Anyone who takes this course can save it, they can download it, and then of course, as they take the course, they can scroll through and read all of the individual sections. Now that I've added my document, I'm going to go back to the table of contents. And last but not least, I want to add another module. We're going to call this the quiz. I'm going to create a quiz. That's the section name is quiz, and then I'm going to actually add the quiz learning item, if that makes sense. So the functionality for the quiz. So when I choose learning item and I add, oh, sorry, my computer clicked out there. Just going to call it summary. And then I'm prompted to add the quiz to the section. So now I'll go to the quiz functionality and I want a multiple choice question. We'll just do 2 multiple choice questions, but you can see we have a couple different options. I'm able to add those. Question 1, 2 plus 2, make it really simple, equals. And then the correct answer would be 4. I can add the incorrect answers, 2, 3, 5. And then individually, I can give feedback based on the answers that people choose. I can randomize. I can set all sorts of configurations like how long am I going to give people to take this quiz? Can they take it many times? What are the pass fail options? Is it 70 or greater? Is it 90 or greater? Do I want to give feedback based on how high they score? Whether they can skip, go back, keep their best result, keep all, show feedback at the end or by question. If there's an open and close for this, I can update all of those in the settings of the quiz. And then I can preview my quiz. So then I would choose the correct answer. This one's going to be a little weird because I didn't give it an actual question. But just like that, I've created a quiz. Just going to go back over here to build. I'm going to move along to my next question so I can save this. You can get very creative with your questions, a little more creative than I am for some reason. Let's just don't go near the yellow snow. Yeah, so it's very easy to build a quiz. And once you've built the quiz, it will self-grade unless you have like a long answer question where people can type in their own answers. And just like that, I've built a full course that allows people to take the training videos, to obtain handouts, and then to take a quiz. Does anyone have any questions about building courses in GO1? Perfect. All right. So it's very easy to build courses. Once I have the course just how I want it, I'm satisfied with the result, I've taken it, it looks appropriate to me. I then want to publish the course and make it available to the portal. So I'm going to make it so that anyone on this portal can enroll in this course. I'm going to share it, and then I'll see in a moment that it's been shared. And then I'm going to publish it, make it public on the portal, of course, not in general. Once it's published, I'm then taken to what the learner sees for the course. So when someone is assigned or enrolled in this course, this is what they come to when they come to take the course. They can see kind of the overview of the course, the name, who created it. Again, if you want to hide that course author, just tick that on in the settings. Each one of the sections of the course, and as they complete them, this will turn green, and then the quiz at the end. To start this, they just need to enroll themselves in it. And you'll see the view changes then to the My Progress tab. You can also always view the overview, but My Progress will track my individual progress and allow me to start each one of the sections. As an administrator, if you create a course and you want to look and see kind of what people are doing in it, there's always the reports page, which allows you to get a view of everyone who's enrolled in it and where they are in progress or whatever their status is. Again, you can also bulk enroll people in it. All right, let's see if I've missed anything. We're coming to the end of this webinar. I want to thank you guys so much for bearing with me. Does anyone have any questions? Is there anything specific that I did not cover that you guys would like to see in this training? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for attending. I'm going to hang on just a couple more minutes to see if anyone has questions. I do want to point out that in your portal, you should have a training course called GO1 Tutorials. And GO1 Tutorials is a training course that tells you as administrators how to run the GO1 system. Now, we are in the process of updating these, but I will point them out just so you can get a look. Our system has changed a lot over the last year, so we're going through and updating all of these. But this, if you enroll yourself in the GO1 Tutorials, it does have step-by-step instructions, kind of how to perform all of the actions that I showed today in the portal. You can enroll yourself in the portal, and then you can go down and look and see all of the individual things that you can do. Each one of these will have a little video along with it and step-by-step instructions. And then all of this information, actually, I promised you that I would put it in the chat, so hang on one second. This is the link to our help desk. And our help desk, oh yeah, I see your questions here. I'll get to you in one second. Generally, every week we cover the same content. It's designed for people who are just getting started with Go1. But I will say that we do a monthly kind of what's new. And then if you go to our website and you subscribe to our newsletters, you'll get notifications for kind of everything that's happening in the portal. And if there's individual training needs that you have, just let us know. If you're in the US, you can schedule time with me. If you're in Australia, you can, or New Zealand, or anywhere else in the world, you can book time with your CSM, and they'll be happy to either send you short video clips or do a training with you, kind of how to do whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in the portal. Awesome. I do suggest you go to our website and subscribe. I believe it's on the contact us page. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can sign up for our newsletter and you'll get, content provider updates, um, portal changes if we have new things coming. We do have, all kinds of stuff that are always happening. And if you have product suggestions, we want to hear those too. You guys are new eyes to Go1. If there's something that isn't working right for you, or you think the functionality should be different, we want to hear that. And so you can email us at product@Go1, and you can also email support@Go1. So much information. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a great day. Let us know if you need anything at all. Bye. You too, Sam.